Hello and welcome to the A-Leagues of our own YouTube channel. My name is Lockie Abel. We've got four of us here tonight, full house, very lovely to see. Jacob Stevens, Will Booth and Christian Montigan here for the Socceroos clash against Palestine on the final match day of this round of qualification for the 2026 North American World Cup. Gents, very lovely to have you here. It's a game in Perth where the Socceroos have not been for a little while. It's a shaken up starting 11. You can see it on the right hand side of your screen. And plenty of excitement. Will, I'll go to you first as the one in the Socceroos kit himself. What are you looking forward to about this game? And good evening.
Yes. Hello. Good to be here as usual. Kitted up for tonight. So of course it comes to me first. No, looking for, I don't know, a bit of freshness, honestly. From the last couple of games, it's just, as we've said before, these games are the perfect opportunity to try out the new things and pull together these interesting starting 11s, which he kind of has a little bit today, Arnold. But it will be interesting to see if there's differences even between now and the last game, and what he moves forward with and what we're going to focus on, and how we adjust to not playing without Duke and maybe not as much of an aerial threat up top, but maybe how we work the ball. And Boyle comes back in and hasn't had much club football, obviously, after his injury. So it will be good to see if he's still got on his legs, because he has been, a big live wire for the national team over the past couple of years. So interesting to see a few things today and kind of work it out what they're trying to do as we go.
All right. Well, for our viewers who were with us last Thursday as well, I believe all of our audio issues have been fixed. I've done some extensive testing throughout this afternoon and this evening. I think we're all good. Hopefully you heard Will's little spiel earlier, but please do let me know if they are wrong. Jacob Stevens, hello to you. Why don't you take us through our starting 11? As I throw to you as you've just taken a bite of food. So come back in and pad for a little bit.
Perfect timing for that. It's because I'm wearing an England shirt for an Australia game. That's why he's done it. Starting 11, a couple of changes, as Will sort of alluded to, from what we saw in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh even then was kind of an experimental lineup as well. Jogauchi starts between the sticks. I don't think there's too much surprise there. The clear number 2 behind Matty Ryan at the moment for Australia. The back line is where we've seen quite a bit of change here. We've got Chakati and Burgess starting together in a partnership in the centre of defence, which both Will and Christian, you guys were talking about in the last live stream as being a distinct possibility for this game. So it's going to be interesting to see that, because those are two players that you'd pin in as sort of, going forwards for the Socceroos starters for this team, right? Especially if they can continue to perform at the level that they're at, and at the clubs that they're at the moment, and the leagues they're playing in, obviously at a very high level. So if they can continue that and keep that going, there's no reason they can't be. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of look to playing together here tonight, and how they just look in general as well, because neither of them have huge minutes for Australia. You've got Aziz Bayic, obviously playing in a left back. He'll be interesting to see how he goes, because he's not had a huge amount of minutes, and we spoke about that during the last game as well. Was that he's sort of in the side because he is such a key part of the leadership team of this squad. And we saw Jordy Boss start at left back last time out, but Bayic gets his chance to earn his position back. I think here it's going to be really a game for him to show why he should still be Graham Arnold's first pick at left back over the likes of Jordy Boss. And then on the right we've got public enemy number 1 during the Asian Cup, which was Gethin Jones. Just for his sake, I hope he has a good game, because I'm not sure how much more social media flack somebody can take, because it was pretty extensive at some points. No Duke starting, as Will mentioned as well. Taggart comes in after a really, really strong A-League season, winning the Golden Boot, was just a constant threat in front of goal. So it'll be interesting to see how the team sort of adjusts to his skill set. With much better player with the ball at his feet. He's going to finish chances on the ground a lot better, but he perhaps lacks a bit of that aerial presence that Duke has. But, Duke missed a couple of headed chances in the game against Bangladesh anyway, so it might not be a massive loss in that department. Matt Leckie comes in, starts on the wing. I think we'll probably see him come inside a little bit, and Yengi maybe move a bit wider, just in terms of in possession shape, just from what we've seen from Leckie recently. And Graham Arnold has sort of used him in sort of a 10 role a little bit as well at times. So it's good to see him back though, because again, we were talking about that left wing position last time out, and how, with Craig Goodwin out, with Matt Leckie was out of that game as well. Just who's your pick there? So it's good to have somebody back with a bit of experience. The real interesting thing is going to be that midfield. Backus and Irvine. We saw Irvine last time out used in a much deeper role, almost sort of as a lone six. But we know that that's the sort of role that Backus likes to play, especially at club level. So it'll be interesting to see how Arnie sort of figures out the best way to get both of them playing good football, but without it being too negative of a midfield, because especially against a team like Palestine and on what's presumably going to be a better pitch than we had in Bangladesh, the game will be a little bit more free-flowing.
You'd hope so.
Hopefully a bit more free-flowing. If you've got too negative of a midfield, that's going to detract massively from your ability to progress the ball forwards. And we saw how important Hristic was to that in that game against Bangladesh. So it'll be interesting to see how those two operate together. And then the final spot is Martin Boyle, who made some interesting comments in the press recently, actually, about his future in football. So obviously we'll wait and see with that. But
do you think they were interesting? I just think he's obviously been asked the question about his contract situation, and he's for me he's almost said the bare minimum, where he says, I want to play in the A-Leagues one day. I'm contracted to Hibs. Don't really know what's going to happen. I feel like that's straight shooting.
I think the use of the word "I want," of the phrase "I want to play in the A-League" is the surprising to me. Is that it's like players aren't. It's not just like a sport where they look at it as going, "Oh, I'll just finish my career up there, nice and easy back home," sort of thing. It's players are starting to want to come back home, which I think,
or just come to Australia,
or just come to Australia in the first place. Yeah, so I think that's quite cool. I think that's the more surprising bit, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And Christian Montague, hello to you. It's interesting, we've seen this 4-4-2 that I've pulled up on the graphic here. That's kind of the grounding out of possession formation that really keeps them in check, the Socceroos, a lot of the time, whereas the in-possession stuff seems to filter out a lot and switch up. We saw Geordie Boss pretty much have the whole left sideline to himself in the game against Bangladesh. I don't think that'll be the case for Aziz Baich. You got Leckie, who perhaps will tuck inside, but different pieces playing in different combinations. We'll probably see it mixed up again in terms of how we attack going forwards.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of experimentation will come from the wide areas once again. I mean, we'd love to see that partnership with Jakarta and Burgess, really blossom. But in a game against Palestine, it's really difficult to judge again. You don't really see him doing much defending. Although I do think Palestine will have a couple of chances maybe, on the counter, for example, if Australia do slack off or get out of position. But we saw even against Bangladesh last week how good we were in transition when we lost the ball. I think that was really impressive. So, I think obviously just looking at the attacking third, I think that's definitely where we'll have to judge this team, in the first half in particular, to see the changes that Arnie makes. And we'll see that in the first 5 to 10 minutes, the exact positioning of it all. But, at the start of the show, we said that it didn't really mean anything. But, as we look at the South Korea result, it's 0 at the moment. So, for ranking points for that next phase of the qualifying, it could mean a whole lot more. So, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, so for those who are unaware, both Australia and South Korea have already secured top of their group, and they'll be progressing to the next stage and the next Asian Cup, for what it's worth. But in terms of FIFA rankings, which will determine the pots that are used for the drawing of the next round, Australia and South Korea are very close. So Korea hold the edge. I think it was something like 0.06 points at the start of this window. So if they drop any points and Australia get a win tonight, we will jump Korea and then avoid them, Iran and Japan all in the next round. So you could even make the argument, given the ease of qualification now, that perhaps a matchup against one of those teams isn't a bad thing, because we get to test ourselves against good opposition. So I think it's take it or leave it, really. I'm not sure it's a huge deal, but yes, potentially easy qualification as well, if that result holds out. As you say, 52 minutes in, and it's South Korea 0, China 0. So not far away at all.
I also think it's a case of maybe in the past we were a bit scared of coming up against some of those stronger teams in Asia, but now I think the team as a whole have shown that they can compete with the likes of a Japan or a South Korea, and and that perhaps it's not as scary a prospect as it once was in a way. You know, in the past, these games would have been almost sort of do or die to be able to jump them in the rankings and get that easier qualification. But now it's a case of not just testing ourselves against, you know, really good opposition, but almost sort of backing to have a good result against them, because, you know, in the past we've shown that, you know, can hang with them and play some good football against them. And against some of the best teams in the world as well. I mean, you look at that World Cup run, and I think that's really galvanised the unit. So,
absolutely. All right, kickoff is underway up in Perth at HBF Park. Australia and Palestine, the two teams tonight. Monique is in. She says, "Evening, gents." Good evening, Monique. Good to have you in, as always, one of our regulars. But yes, get involved in the chat. We want to know what you think. We'll talk some Socceroos. We'll talk some other football throughout the course of the evening as well. But for now, it's the Socceroos. And Jacob, we're going to let you sit and watch the first 10 minutes so you can give a tactical analysis on everything that's going on. But for Christian and Will, what are you hoping to see out of this game? What players do you think are pushing for starting spots? Of course, a lot of selections have been thrown up in the air. I think a big one is obviously Harry Suter. This is the first time he hasn't started for the Socceroos in quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. So big opportunities for Chikati, of course, hasn't been involved in a lot of camps. And then Cameron Burgess as well to stake his claim on a centre-back spot.
Yeah, it's no, it's an important one for sure. And as you guys said in the intro kind of there, like, you don't want to, you know, mess around with things too much, but yeah, no, seeing this centre back partnership is exciting. I think Suta has been ever present for the national team since he's come across, I guess you could say, and I think we've seen enough of kind of what he can offer, and we know how the team works around him, and he's a, you know, really solid back to goal defender, and makes those vital, you know, tackles and like he does in the like he did in the World Cup, and
it is funny how we talk about those kind of players like a transfer, like the Martin Boyles, the Harry Sutas, like they've brought him into the national team.
It's like a new signing, but yeah, no, exactly. No, I'm pretty sure I saw Martin Boyle like in the Yellow Army one time, like maybe 5 years ago. Lifelong Mariners fan. He wants to come back to the league and do the same shaker. You mean come back to Australia? No, but yeah, like so we know what these proven players, you know, we know what they're capable of. So it's good to see a full new centre back partnership, and he brings them in as a duo. I think, because if they are playing, if one of them are playing, it would probably be with each other. I think we'd hope, and that's an early pen already.
That is a great ball wide from Aleksandar Chikati. As his page has gone down, and the referee has pointed to the spot. No VAR in this round of qualification.
That looked pretty soft.
Palestinian player does not look happy, as we're going to ask Will Booth to just pause his broadcast for 5 seconds to sync up with the rest of us.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's not a penalty for me. I'm sorry.
He it easily, didn't he?
He makes contact, but it's not.
The Palestinian is pulled out of the challenge. That's
I think there's this misconception that contact equals penalty every single time, and it's just, you just always see contact get given, and it doesn't really matter what a player does. But there's certain positions where what do you do as a defender there? Like, can you just never ever go for the ball in that? It's just
Is Yangi stepping up? He grabbed the ball.
Yeah, we see them handed off late though, don't they? Like,
I'm a few minutes ahead of you. Do you want me to? Gauchi put it top corner. No.
Yengi does look like he's alone there with the ball. Yeah, you're right, Christian.
For what it's worth, we're at about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Will. So.
The Palestinian players are sure not happy about it. Have not let the referee have a moment of peace. But it looks like it will be Cassini Yengi stepping up for this spot kick. How many international? He's just got the one goal, right?
Penalties don't count, so this will stay as one.
Tell that to Harry Kane's World Cup Golden Boot.
Don't tell us, Will.
Monique says that's a tough call for Palestine. Absolutely, yes. I think that's quite a soft decision. But regardless, Cassini Yengi, here is the world without VAR that everyone's so desperately calling for. Where are we going? Top left?
You're way behind. You're way behind, Lockie. Mine's
Bottom
already
left. Am I behind, am I?
Yeah.
Am I the one
I
that's
must be
lagging?
behind as well because I'm with Lockie there. We've
I
only
reckon,
just seen that go in.
Yangi's going to his bottom left, I reckon.
All right. Well, he has slotted it away. It is 1-0 to Australia in controversial circumstances. There you go. Good pen.
I mean, the one thing is, right, the one thing you can say is that at least it's like decision was given and the penalty was like it wasn't waiting around for, however long for VR to come to the decision, but it was
true.
objectively the wrong decision. So it's like, do you want quick and wrong or long, but sometimes also still wrong?
I want quick and wrong.
I don't know. I think it's something that, and this is a big topic. We could fill the full 90 with the debate on this topic for sure. But I think it's something that you just won't realize until it's gone. How a lot of the correct decisions are being made way more than before.
They are. Yeah.
And it's as soon as it goes, you're gonna have the fan bases crying out their team's targeted again and all of this stuff. And I think it's got pros and cons obviously, but like you take one or the other, you want correct decisions. And it overreaches in a lot of facets, but I think overall people will definitely miss a lot of it. A lot of the
And
I don't know,
the
anything
thing is,
relevant
these
to that team.
games are like perfect litmus cases for what life is like without VAR. A lot of women's football does not have VAR just yet. And there are plenty of other tournaments, like that AFC Cup we saw the Mariners play in. The Australia Cup until, the semi-finals doesn't have VAR. So we talk about it, what would life be like? But there's still plenty of games that don't have referees. And of course, you can talk about local football and all that kind of stuff. So, you can go and live it and make up your own mind. I do think the process has to be refined, and it will. Hopefully, it's cut back a little bit, but it's here to stay, isn't it?
I just think
I was going to say, obviously it's going to open up the game a bit more. I think, Palestine and Australia obviously both through, but at least hopefully Palestine play a bit more freedom, go out, try and get an equaliser, and hopefully it just frees up the game a bit. So in that sense, it's worked out well.
Yeah.
Will?
I think, like my personal experience at games with VAR, I have not noticed much of it. A difference in how we celebrate and how it affects the life, that's what I see as the biggest complaint online and everything. So, I don't know. I don't think it's changed the landscape of attending that drastically. Whereas I feel like the heartbreak, it hurts a lot more with a massive incorrect decision against your own team. Like I think that is the benefits of the correct decision outweigh the cost of the time. And I don't think there's a much more painful scenario than like a decision just going massively against your team and having no recourse about somebody looking at it again. And I think we'll miss that.
It does ruin the theatre though. You have to admit. Like you just
does ruin the what, sorry?
The theatre. It ruins the theatre. I mean, when you celebrate a goal, you think, okay, is this going to be a goal? Like
I've never thought that when I watch a goal. I've never celebrated thinking, what am I gonna do? You celebrate once and then you celebrate again when it's confirmed. Like it's just, I don't know. That's my experience, but
you celebrate once and then you give a nice polite clap once VAR.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, Christian. I've done that plenty of times. Seeing a goal go in for my team, but then it's a tight offside call or something's flicked off weird on an elbow or a knee or something. You're not quite sure.
My counterpoint to that is that those offside calls they happen in games anyway, where the goal goes in, but then the lino's got his flag up and nobody's noticed it, and everyone's gone correct. I mean, Karen Bullitt and his super long celebration sort of thing. It's
but
like...
at least if you choose to, you can look and know immediately what the result will be.
True.
Elias is saying in the chat where to watch. This game is on Channel 10, I'm pretty sure, but also Paramount Plus 10 Play, I believe.
Channel 10 too. Yeah.
10 is it 10 bold or?
No, it's on the main channel, Channel 10.
On the main channel.
Nice.
Main channel for Channel 10 tonight. So it's on free to wear.
Gone mainstream.
Gone mainstream on 10 Play. If you don't
Made the
have
big time.
the TV, jump up on the streaming, or you can just sit here and listen to us. That is the other option.
I know which one I'd prefer.
In other news, South Korea have gone 1-0 up against China.
Damn it.
I don't know. Yeah, about that, like I think we've had the last couple of qualifying campaigns have gone quite close and further than we would have liked. So I don't want to be too confident and say that we don't need it. I think I know it's easier overall to qualify these days.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
It's literally almost doubled, 4.5 spots to 8.5. Like that's just such
Yeah.
a significant difference.
Yeah.
It would
That's a good
be an unmitigated disaster if we
Yeah.
didn't get through the first time, let alone didn't get through it all and had to
But to
utilize the later
your
rounds.
point, Jacob, you made that. I think you were saying before how we're being more competitive now against the likes of Japan and South Korea. I kind of disagree with it. I
Okay.
think we still need to prove ourselves, especially in qualifying campaigns for World Cups and all of that. I think we do play good patches in parts, but at the end of the day, like a team like Japan, I feel always overrun us. They always just outdoor, especially away from home. I think we always struggle in Japan, which is normal. But even at home, you just tell Japan have that more technical quality about them. I think we just got a bit more to go until we reach their level, and South Korea.
It's
To keep it consistent. But we have to see with this new generation coming up. It will take some time, but I think we still need to prove ourselves.
it is odd. I agree with some of that, Chris. Like how we seem like we're slipping behind a lot of the Asian countries where we're not growing as quick as they have, and there's rapid growth on a lot of their behalves. Like Japan is their players are getting top moves
Yeah.
to every big league, and I think from that level, like in Asia, we pale in comparison. But once we do get on the world stage, I think our football probably maybe matches up to the European teams and the other confederations a lot better, which is odd to say, but yeah, I think in Asia we need to perform more, and so the games against the tougher opponents there against Japan, Iran, and stuff will definitely those games matter. So we need to do well. But yeah, as we said, like if you make it to the big stage, we've shown we can perform against the teams from elsewhere. So
half chance from Adam Taggart, couldn't capitalise. Of course, playing in his hometown as well, which is good for him to be able to play in Perth. There's probably a little bit of sample size issue because with the international games, we only play, some friendlies and then World Cups, right? And then we play Asian teams in qualifications, and Australia is just such a big paradox because in like one World Cup campaign, we can go from literally breaking the world record for the most consecutive wins in a World Cup qualifying campaign of any nation ever, and consistently winning games against low-ranked nations. Then we can go to the World Cup and beat some of these higher-ranked nations and pull off these amazing victories, almost take Argentina to extras, and then we can go to an Asian Cup and then not be able to break down the teams against low blocks and then lose to teams like South Korea in the elimination bracket. So there's such a wide spectrum of things you can be annoyed about. It's quite interesting. There's so many things.
depends on how far you go back for your examples and like what period of the Socceroos kind of you're looking at. Because
That's true.
It feels like there's been a few iterations recently over the last couple of tournaments we've played. I don't know. It hasn't felt that coherent between tournaments. I guess like there's always things going on and chops and changes.
Is that true for every team though?
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. It's national. That comes with national team football, but
Yeah, I guess you're right. So Jacob, what's the attacking outlook looking like? How are they trying to go forwards?
It's a bit strange because I've seen two distinct structures going forwards in possession so far. So the first is this sort of weird asymmetrical double pivot type thing that we saw against Bangladesh, right? Where in that case it was Ryan Strain. Here it's Gethin Jones sort of gets up into that second level, and with backers forms a double pivot but slanted to the right, and Bajic moves right the way up the left wing. But then in other times, I've seen it, especially as the game's gone on now, in the last 5 or so minutes, it's now almost sort of become backers dropping into a lone six. And then Bajic and Jones
Either side.
both go out very, very wide. So it's sort of almost this 2-3-2-3 in possession, right? You've got the back two, you've got Bacchus the lone six, Gethin Jones and Aziz Bajic either side of him. And then up the front with that front five, it's the two in the middle. Irvin is always one of them. He's playing sort of as an 8 today, box to box. And then it's depending on which side it's on. So if the ball's on the left wing, it'll be Boyle that comes inside. If it's on the right wing, it'll be Leckie that comes inside. And then Yengi and Taggart playing to their strengths are both leading the line. That Arnold's not trying anything crazy there, getting one of them to drop deep or anything like that.
Are they drifting wide if they're like that wider player?
Not really. Not that I've seen a huge amount of. They are. I mean, it's more a case of whichever winger it is that isn't dropping into that midfield unit is sort of keeping them compact a little bit. But it's not like Leckie or Yengi is swinging out to be not Leckie. Taggart or Yengi is swinging out to become a winger, right? They're still playing as a striker pairing, just with a third player attached onto them.
So for the benefit of the visual learners, I'm trying to move around my pieces on the graphic from what Jacob's saying, and maybe you can bring up the stream just to have a look yourself.
Yeah.
But I think what Jacob's saying is you've got this, you've got the 2-3 in defence, right? So you've got your centre backs, Bacchus dropping deep in the 6, and then Bajic and Jones is that 3, and then you've got a 2 which is consistent of Irvine plus either Leckie or Boyle. So if the ball's coming down this right hand side, you've got, chance for Palestine, but it's dealt with well. Leckie comes in with Irvine and forms these 2 kind of 8s. You've got Boyle out on the wing. This is when the ball's down here. So Gethin Jones is receiving the ball. Boyle's creating the width. Irvine in the middle, Leckie tucking in. And then you've got Yengi and Taggart in those traditional striking spots. And then if the ball is then passed back around, Leckie's going to get the width. Irvine's going to move across to the left. And then Boyle tucks in into this midfield.
Yeah. Bajic isn't being given as much attacking freedom as Jordi Boss was, which I don't think is particularly surprising, right? Because we know that Boss is the more attacking of the 2 players. So I think that's a deliberate thing from Arnie. But now we're sort of seeing this transition again back into that almost sort of asymmetrical double pivot that we're seeing, right? With the back 2, Bacchus staying central, but Jones coming inside a little bit and Bajic pushing up. So it is, they're just sort of switching between the 2. And I'm not sure, it's probably a situational thing. I haven't been able to pick up on what exactly the cue is for them to switch. It might just be the case of Bajic every now and again if there's
challenge.
Space. That's a very good challenge.
Good
if there's space up on that wing to be able to get forwards, he just does, and he has that freedom, and the team knows they have to adjust to that.
And what we've also, I just noticed that ball, Matt Leckie got down to the left sideline to put that cross in. That actually started with Bajic creeping up the left line, and Leckie kind of dropped into that position between the fullback and the centre back and picked up the ball. And then it was Irvine and Bacchus kind of in here creating this shape. So plenty of flexibility, which is good to see. And the rotations are coming through, and it's not so one-dimensional like potentially what we saw at the Asian Cup, for example.
Yeah. Well, and now it's almost a back 3, right? Like Jones sitting much deeper now. And you've got Bajic coming inside to play with Bacchus as a double. Like, there's a lot of flexibility there. And basically disregard everything I say, because by the time I've said it, they'll try something new, is what we're learning tonight.
This is exciting to watch, though, at least. And Chikati is providing still accuracy with his long balls there. And I don't know, they're exploiting, obviously, Palestine's right side right now. And we saw when Bacchus drove out and Leckie drove with him, they beat that first layer, that first Palestine kind of press there, and they just overloaded that left side with multiple options out wide for that wide ball, for them to then swing it in. So I feel like with this kind of movement we're seeing in the rotation, as you said, Lockie, it's easy to jump on a side and kind of overload a flank really quickly, and just as long as you can progress it through the first press, it's promising. There's big gaps between the Palestine kind of midfield.
Not a foul. Monique says, nice amount of pace this game. Yes, absolutely. It's moving quickly, which is nice to see.
Yeah. And I mean, we've spoken a lot about on the ball stuff, but off the ball, pretty much as expected, in that they've kept sort of a 4-4-2. I have seen them switch it to a 4-2-4 as well, but that's basically the same thing, right? The wingers stay a little bit higher, but there's not really a huge amount of pressing. I think they know that Palestine don't necessarily have quality on the ball, and that they'll turn the ball over pretty easily, and it doesn't require overcommitting anywhere along the pitch, and it just helps keep things nice and strong and solid again, and pretty safe, because as we mentioned in the Bangladesh game, when you've got international football, it's difficult to implement, really extravagant pressing schemes and marking schemes and things like that. So the simpler you can keep it, the better. And that's what they've done really well so far.
So now we see Jackson Irvine getting wide on the wing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Boyle pretty much staying tucked out wide, whereas, Matt Leckie, we've seen him for Melbourne City towards the back end of that season excel in that midfield role as well. So obviously playing that left kind of midfield left wing in the 4-4-2 block, but on the ball getting into midfield and nice into central areas and being used that way. It's interesting because I talked earlier before the game started about, the 4-4-2 being the thing that grounds them, and then in possession, depending on the team, they're changing things around. I think it's actually quite similar to what we saw last week, right? It's just a different personnel.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the players that have come in are playing specifically to their strengths and their functionality. And it's good to see, like you said, like Leckie has had that kind of season or two playing in this 8.5 role kind of thing where he floats in between and comes inside a lot. So playing him in that kind of role in this game, it's good to see that Arnold has personalized the team a bit. There, it was similar to setup, but then you're utilizing player strengths as well and positions and roles that they've played in their clubland as well. So no, it looks like players have, even if they've been dropped in for this game, it's their first of these couple of fixtures, they're looking like they understand it straight away and they know what to do. There's a clear identity here at least, which is really
great to see that we've got so much flexibility about us, interchangeable, so many different tactics and formations. Jacob touched on the double pivot to start, and then using one with Bacchus to drop deep, 3 at the back, 4 to start. So, and then the wingers sort of interchanging as well. So it doesn't matter who the opposition is. If you can do that and do that well, and you change sort of the system during 5, 10, 15 minutes during the game, you're going to set yourself up well to grow that chemistry and cohesion, which is something that we really want to see, because I think in past years with Australia, one of the criticisms has been a bit too not one-dimensional, but not as flexible as we have seen them, especially in these past few games, which is again a really positive sign.
Monique says in the chat, not a fan of Boyle, wishing Nestri or Azani got a start. Azani being excluded was an interesting one for me. I guess if you're committing to that kind of left winger being the one that tucks inside and occupies the more midfield decision, then I can understand Azani not being selected over there and going with Leckie instead. And of course, was it Metcalf playing that role last week? Yeah. It would have been, or Fristich, one of the two. But yeah, Azani on the right, I think you're probably going to have your 3 players there, Nestri, Azani and Boyle, all competing for that one spot then, aren't you?
It's a tough one, because I do think that Azani would suit the role that Leckie's playing, but if Leckie's fit, you're going to play him. That's the difficult thing there. And then so you do have to put Azani back out into competition with the others. So that's where it's probably unlucky. But these are the games where, it is a good chance for him to get, starting minutes. So, Boyle's a known quantity for this team now. Like, we've seen him play, some pretty consistent football for a long while, and you know the sort of play you're going to get with him. Whereas Azani, it's a chance to perhaps get something new or something exciting in there. So it could be a missed opportunity. I'd expect him to come off the bench, but
in the long term, though, you're expecting Irankunda to be starting right wing more often than not, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think so?
In a preferred 11.
Yeah.
When have we ever gotten a preferred 11 though?
Yeah.
At a major tournament.
Always as pieces.
And that's kind of the reason why I don't think South Korea winning this game against China, which they still are leading, is not a bad thing, because with the less jeopardy that's on offer for World Cup qualification, I think it's just good to test yourself against a good team. That's what you need to do to improve.
Yeah, I agree.
With a minimal risk of not qualifying for the World Cup, though. So, which is obviously the other thing. If it was less spots on the line, we'd be saying a different story. We'd want Korea, to drop points much more. But now that we've got that bit of luxury in our back pocket, it makes it much more comfortable. That's for sure.
Just got some flashbacks as Matt Leckie streamed through a team in red, but it was inevitably blocked at the end. It was a good turnover though.
It was well worked. Can I just say I love the hoodie that the Palestine coach is wearing, by the way. How they've used the hood as the red triangle on the
Oh,
flag.
yeah, the flag, yeah.
That's actually really cool design.
The players had them in the pre-game as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, Matt Leckie cutting inside. Oh, it gives you chills, doesn't it?
It's crazy,
Against
crazy how that one goal against Denmark, just like the whole it took the whole country by storm, right? Like everybody was talking about it, and
It's a good header. Or the ball over the top from Taggart.
Here we go.
Falls to Boyle, cut back, Taggart, goal! Scores
There
in
we
his
go.
hometown for the Socceroos. What a moment.
Love to see it.
I was just about to comment on Taggart as well. He scored right on cue.
Let's say, what were you going to say something that makes sense now or doesn't make sense after they go?
No, I was going to say, even if he scores or he doesn't score, I think it's not going to make much difference to Arnie's sort of selection. You know, obviously Mitch, Duke, and Yangi are going to be, you know, the starters no matter what. Taggart can score 5 goals in this match, and I don't see him, you know, being the starter or even being close to it. You know, in the next phase of qualifying, if he does get another opportunity off the bench, I think that's when he's really going to have to step up. But, you know, in these sort of games, we saw even McLaren, Jamie McLaren in the previous games. You know, he scored, a hat-trick in one game. He scored a few against low opposition teams.
Scored a hat-trick in his final game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he still couldn't get a look in. So I think Taggart's in a bit of a lose-lose situation, to be honest. But no, it's great that he's got his goal.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like that starts with Taggart there, and I don't know if Duke wins the ball back, plays that ball at the top. I don't know if Duke does the same thing. I don't know if he.
But I'm saying from Arnie's perspective,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't see it. Yeah.
Well, the thing
Yeah,
is for
but-
Taggart, and look, I don't know if I 100% agree with you that Duke's spot is so nailed on. However, because of the fact that Taggart is in the A-League, he won't get another camp until at least November. And that's if he has a really good start to the A-League campaign. Whereas Duke's going to be playing in Japan. He's only coming off the bench at the moment, but he's going to be a persistent member of that squad throughout the A-League off-season as well, which will definitely go against Taggart and Stamatopoulos as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting. Yeah, go on.
Stamatopoulos is his name. I was getting around to him before I was interrupted by the penalty and when I was 30 seconds ahead. But yeah, definitely somebody I think we should see tonight. If we don't see him tonight, what's the point of having him here in this camp? So yeah, him and Taggart are probably the more rounded players, and I think I don't know. Stammer showed a lot that he can. I don't know if he can flourish in these games, but I think he'd suit playing against tough opposition, and he seems to get a lot going and be able to get a lot from games where maybe he's not expected to, and he can extract the most out of, I think, the chances he does have.
Do we have a better aerial threat than
Yeah.
Stamatopoulos?
Wasn't Arnie
so.
saying that he's as good as Tim Cahill was? Like,
Oh, really?
Oh, no, give us a spell.
I think he
I
was
don't know if
maybe
it's
likening
somebody
his
said that.
heading ability or something to Timmy Cahill.
yeah, said the best we've seen since Cahill's. Maybe I'm
Stamatopoulos
paraphrasing.
has scored a couple of very good headers in
Yeah.
the A-League this season.
Yeah, so as he just seems a player you want in the national team who can extract that little bit out of games that maybe our other strikers can't. So, yeah, just really, really keen to see him tonight for sure.
He reminds me a bit of like a Josh Kennedy type, you know, not in terms of like more stature, but in terms of he can come on and add a different perspective to the game, you know, hold the ball up a bit, you know, the aerial ability as well that we touched on. It just provides a different element to bring off the bench. So I think he's definitely, yeah.
think
Fantastic football through the centre there.
That's great link up.
Yeah.
It's funny you say Josh Kennedy. I was thinking of him when we were talking about, the toughness of qualifying campaigns, and I was about to say that we don't want to get ourselves into another situation where we're allowing Josh Kennedy winners to make it in the last grasp. But that's all that was flashing through my head. I remember sat around watching that one, and
What a ball from Bresciano.
yeah,
Oh, God.
it's going back a bit, winding the clock back a bit.
I have another thought about the setup. Because Arnie has talked a lot about taking players and specifically their roles from their clubs and not asking them to change too much from what they do. But obviously, what we're seeing tonight is them playing a very similar system, despite the fact that they've changed 8 players. So what my head goes to immediately is that he's coming close to what he thinks his best 11 is, and he's asking those backup players to play the same role as that starting 11. So I'm thinking this left back spot is built for Geordie Boss. How he gets higher up, he stays in high positions, gets on the wing, and potentially gets the ball in one-on-one situations as a left back. And then on the right, you know, you're condensing it more. You're having more opportunities for link-up play. You've got Irvine in there. You've got Aaron Kunda, potentially Arzani, and your 2 strikers all in a condensed area. And I just think that, you know, potentially he's starting to figure out exactly who his best 11 is. And if players are going to come in and prove that they can, you know, break into the squad or whatever, you've still got to be able to play those roles, because we're getting to the point where we need a bit of consistency in the team and how we're shaping up.
Yeah, 100%. I think that left back example you gave is you can see it really well. It's I think Boss's, over the games he's played, has made it his own position and changed a lot of how we operate on that left flank, where fullbacks we haven't had really strong stock for a while. Like it has been a position of who can we call in there and who can we put in there. And,
cheeky effort.
It's he's going for it there. Now you're ahead of me, Lockie. Really.
Oh no,
that's right. I'll restart. But yeah, I can definitely see it in a few positions who is who's auditioning kind of thing, and I think it speaks to the versatility of a lot of the players that they can slot in and still play same shape and the same ideas as last week, but also bounce off their own strengths as well.
All right, I'm going to fiddle around with my starting 11 lineup again because I want to try and draw this. Let's. Bacchus is going in there.
Can't we find the GPS data and just get live positioning?
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody wants to donate us a subscription to Opta, so that we can get all of those stats, that would be great. Thanks. I think it's like, I don't know, like $300 a year or something ridiculous.
It's almost like this. So you've got you got your spine of your centre backs, the 3 in midfield, and your strikers, and then you've got your 3 wide players that are essentially offering extremely different options depending on if you go down the left or the right. The right, as you say, you've got that extra fullback, that kind of asymmetric double pivot with Gethin Jones, and then in order to allow that to allow enough space, Boyle is really hugging the touchline and getting deep out on the right. And then Bates is left alone and allowed that chance to creep forward from left back.
Yeah. So
it's very interesting.
It's kind of normal, right? In a little ways, right? If Bates was getting all the way up to the front line and Jones was inverting rather than staying slightly wider, you'd look at that and you'd go, that looks about right for a modern football team in possession to have sort of a box midfield with your fullback inverting and the other one getting up really high. But just it's that lack of symmetry to it which makes it look a little bit weird and function a bit differently. But it's like you were talking about before, Lockie, where it's playing to the strengths of the players that Arnie reckons are going to be in that starting 11, and going, right, this is going to be the way to get them to play their natural game the best while still keeping some sort of coherent system that isn't too ambitious or too crazy or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I really like it. I think it's evident of him trying to find a system that works best for the players you've got. And I know that kind of sounds like the whole cattle argument of you got to deal with the players you have. But it's it's a bit of tactical nuance to it. It's not just we're not good enough, so let's sit back. It's let's adjust the system to fit the player profiles that we have.
Yeah.
This definitely feels like the most proactive in this, trying these new players and these new ideas for a while. It does feel fresh, as we were saying pre-game. So
Jacob, can we have a talking tactics piece on this, please?
I'm pretty busy this week, but
I know
sure,
you are.
I can give it a shot. If anyone wants to chip in and help out, then yeah, I'll try to get something going.
I'll do the graphics.
Yeah, that's the most time-consuming bit, to be fair. So you're
I don't have
more
your
than welcome.
technical now, Jacob, so I don't want to bring it down. We'll leave it all to you.
Christian's doing the Chikati spotlight.
Yeah, that's right.
The pronunciation guide.
Chikati player profile.
Yeah. Nah, Jacob, we need to work it out for future games. Like one of us do in possession, one of us do out possession, and we can out of possession. We can just focus on that the whole game.
Yeah, sounds good.
It is helpful only having to focus on one team as well. Like I find when I'm watching A-League games, I'm trying to think about both teams and what they're doing. But obviously with this, it's just the Socceroos just one.
Yeah, well, that's where it was like when I was doing on like Reddit with just my Adelaide United stuff. It was like a little bit easier to get them out because it was just the one team. And it's like, doing the talking tactics pieces where it's like you're looking at both teams in the match, or you're looking at a couple of matches every weekend. It's sort of the scope of it gets a lot bigger, and you can go into less detail about things, but there's more things that you can cover, and it's good fun though. I do enjoy it.
They're very good reads. All right, well, we're 35 minutes in now, 2-0 to the Socceroos. We're in the final minutes as well of that other game we're paying attention to. It is currently 1-0 to South Korea over China, so there is still hope of a little last gasp equaliser there that would condemn them to pot 2 if Australia hold their lead. Not out of the question
China.
at all.
China's going to score last minute. It'll be disallowed, won't it? It just has that vibe.
By what?
It'll be disallowed.
Yeah, there's no VAR.
No VAR. We'll
Right,
get
it'll
an
still
old
be
school
disallowed.
disallowed.
It'll be disallowed. Old school disallowed, yeah.
They can still disallow goals the analog way.
Yeah, the linesman will call the ref over from the middle of the park and have
Yeah.
a chat, and
Not the controlling one as well, the one on the far side.
yeah.
I think in 10 years' time, we're going to have, more advanced technology and see, for offsides, for example, the flag just light up saying, yep, that's offside. I'm just going to call it that so we don't have any time wasting. That's the modern technology that we're going to see.
My crazy thought is they should have a camera on rails along,
That's my thought as
running
well.
along behind.
It makes so much sense.
And then it won't be perfect, right? Because the technology to be able to perfectly track it would be insane. I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but it would be extremely expensive. But it would be a bloody good fail-safe,
I mean, yeah.
They've got the semi-assisted offsides coming anyway soon, right?
They do. They got the chip in the ball that measures all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So
To
in
be
the
fair,
next
with-
qualifying phase, is there VAR? Sorry?
In this,
Yeah, in the next phase of qualifying.
next phase, I'm not sure, but definitely not this one. I'm assuming there would be actually in the next phase.
So I was going to say, there's like a country or two who, we see some who can't afford it. Even the European qualifications, see, obviously the San Marinos and whatnot don't have VAR because they obviously don't have the financial resources. Like, I don't think that's fair. It's either everyone has it or everyone doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in an ideal world, sure, but maybe you just got to deal with some of the realities of the situation.
You just bring it in at the phase where it's as soon as everyone can have the capabilities for it. But it's
You got those small nations that get their one in every 20 years, and you want to qualify for a World Cup, you got to pay $1 million just for VAR for the whole phase.
That's why the solution is robo-refs, and then you just ship them around wherever they're needed.
Well, I think I mentioned this. I'm not sure whether it was on one of our podcasts or the live stream, but FIFA are developing a budget, cost-effective version of VAR, which I'm assuming this would be one of the use cases for. We talked about it, didn't it? It was just like an iPad on the side of the screen or something.
Yeah.
A tribute now going up to the late Dylan Tabides as well, which the Socceroos have been involved in, the Tom Beatties Foundation. Of course, Perth Glory have their Tom Beatties match as well every year in the A-Leagues. In the 38th minute, which was his number, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was that the shirt that you're wearing as well, Will? That was in that Tifa,
Yeah.
So there you go. That's a nice bit of symmetry there. That was a late challenge on Bacchus.
I wouldn't mind a red card here just to make the game a bit interesting.
Hey, the game's been plenty
Interesting.
interesting. What are you talking about?
I'm not listening to the tactical breakdowns.
Christian
Just
is
to
a
see
harsh
maybe-
critic.
Just to see a mini comeback from Palestine too, or just make it a bit of theatre. Why not?
Breaking
Also-
news in the group chat. Ross has sent a post through from Fabrizio Romano. Robert Lewandowski has suffered a torn bicep femoris muscle. Well, that's a femoris. Femoris. There you go. Muscle yesterday night. He will miss opening game versus Netherlands. Poland report they are doing everything so he can play in the second match.
So
That's
they're
a big game to
cutting off
miss.
someone else's leg and stitching it on.
It's a big game to miss against the Netherlands.
Yeah.
My hot take is that they're probably better with him not in the side.
You reckon it's like a Ronaldo Qatar situation?
Like possibly. I just think so much of that Poland team gets underrated because
Oh, No?
Another one.
not that bad.
jeez, I don't know. Looked bad. So much of that Polish team is underrated just because he takes all the headlines, obviously, and I think they're building a really strong unit. Impressive result against Turkey. I don't know. I just don't think he's required, and I've seen for Barca over the season that they've done fine without him as well in certain.
It's not like they're
he's certainly
loaded with
replaceable.
talent though.
It's not like striker is something where they've got a position where they've got some depth actually. Like you've got
Yeah.
Milik and Piatek in there, and I don't know. I think it won't be as bad as people think. I don't think he's really carried that
Oh.
team for too long. Like
That is a
in
great
in
ball. Cut through.
fantastic
Cassini
ball.
Yengi. The flag is not up and he scores again. That is a great bit of football.
That's
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 exactly what
but
we're talking about.
Lovely.
Was he offside?
I reckon
It's
he
not called,
looked it.
but-
He looked it.
What's with the
He
DJ
seemed to
celebration?
think it was as well. He just sort of stopped and
Can I get a
We'll
side on
see the
replay?
replay, but that was good. I'm not sure who the pass was. I'm assuming it was Gethin Jones, actually.
I think it was.
Oh, no, Jackson Irvine.
I was at Irvine.
Oh, yeah, Boyle's offside for sure in the
Yeah.
first case.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Cassini Yanki's probably offside as well in the
He's
second
not
case,
offside,
and they've got a
he's
goal.
clearly offside.
I
Two
thought he was.
offsides
Oh,
there.
that's closer than Boyles. Boyles is
Yeah, Boyles was like.
Boyles is
he's
definitely-
ahead
Yengi
of
is
his
close.
more
guys.
blatant. But yeah, Irvine with a great ball in behind there.
Oh,
Love
great feet from Yengi as well.
that. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
To get it out from under him on the left side.
To be fair, that was a big criticism of his when he was playing for Adelaide. Was that he was a bit clumsy on the ball with his feet because of his height. And how many players have we seen that are really tall that struggle with the ball at their feet? And it's something he's clearly worked on because that's a great bit of football.
That's an exceptional
It's,
goal.
it's the touch, I think. The first touch sets him up. That was an
Yeah.
awesome first touch to get that under control. Fake out the defender with the half turn back and finish that. It's really nice.
I tell you what, the Palestine bench is certainly not happy with how the refereeing has transpired so far this evening. But that is a great goal. And honestly, shout out to Jackson Irvine as well for a player who did manage to score a couple of goals in the Asian Cup, but apart from that was largely ineffective. I don't think it's unreasonable to say. And that's a great pass to play in Boyle. Boyle's come back into the team and skipped through a couple, and then Yengi with his feet. It's interesting, when we were talking about strikers before, you know, Taggart, Stamatolopoulos, Duke, those kinds of guys, no one mentioned Yengi. I guess
Yeah.
we're all pretty happy with him as one of those striking options.
Somebody say if he's hitting form, it was great to see him get so many minutes for Portsmouth and yeah, play a vital role. And I think if he's coming into form, he could definitely be one of those names that's there for a few years, being still young as well. So no, it's really good to see. It kind of didn't come out of nowhere. Obviously, he's been spoken about for a while, but he's taken this opportunity really, really well so far and made the most of it. And yeah, exciting, honestly, to have this many options in attack.
Absolutely. Monique has said, with all the report cards you guys have been giving lately, can we get a report card on Graham Arnold? Monique is correct. We've just wrapped up our three-part series of the A-League season, doing reviews on all the teams. Report card on Graham Arnold. Look, this is more of a holistic point on coaching, but I think the longer you stay in a job, the more negative sentiment becomes almost 90% of the time. So he's in a tough position, having already been there for 5-6 years now. So obviously there's people not happy with him. The quarterfinals of the Asian Cup doesn't look great on paper. we said this before the tournament started, but if you're going to go out to, the Korea, Japan or Iran, those kind of teams, and I don't think you really have too many complaints. And of course, we were so close to making it through anyway. Obviously, there was the complaints about the play style, which, we were part of leading as well. It didn't feel like there was a lot of proactiveness, which, again, we've said I think we are seeing in this game and in recent times as well. They're trying to evolve, the way they're playing. So I'm more than happy with Graham Arnold. I think he definitely deserved his new contract after the World Cup, and I'm happy as I would be with anyone else. I think with him taking us in 26.
Yeah,
It sounds obvious now, but I definitely flipped after the World Cup. Like heading into that was when I was probably the most negative about the tenure, and there just didn't seem like many positives to kind of look forward to. I guess I don't know. I just didn't see much of a hope at all. But everything since then has kind of been on the rise, really. And you said as the tenure goes on. Is there anything on the board? No,
I was just going to say I'm laughing at the board because the referee's holding it up.
Not applicable.
As time goes on, it gets the critics grow up, but I feel like maybe he has flipped a few people's opinions as well. I think, and these games will be a big display of that.
This has to be the last cycle, though. I think after this World Cup, with this younger couple.
What if he wins it?
I'll give you $1,000 trillion.
You heard it here, guys.
I will name my firstborn Graham Arnold.
Graham Arnold Booth. Is that what you got?
Yeah, it's hyphenated first name. Yeah.
You really think, Christian, that you can say 2 years out that this should be his last cycle?
I mean, when did he start? I think afterwards of 2018.
It was after the 2018 World Cup, yeah.
To have 8 years to the national team, that's a pretty long time. And again, it just depends. If we get to the World Cup, again, his performance there, how we judge him over in that tournament. But, I mean, like I said, I just think fresh ideas wouldn't be a bad thing, especially this new generation coming through. I've never been a fan of Arnold specifically, developing young players. He's always thrived, well at the Mariners in Sydney when he's had that more experienced group that can win him trophies and silverware. But, I know he's been with the Socceroos. He took him to the last Olympics, looked after that team. But I'm just a bit pessimistic about is he the right man to lead us forward after this next World Cup? I don't know.
Jeez, you sound like me talking about Adelaide United.
Sounds like me post Qatar. No, pre-Qatar. Pre-Qatar.
Can't be all sunshine and roses. Have to,
I'm glad there's still
another
some
great chance.
There's still some fight there.
I just want to highlight, actually, before we keep going, that I think it's actually been given a goal kick, but that whole passage down the left, as it's Bage getting the ball in that wide area, Yengi did actually drift over a little bit, and he picked up the ball on that side. And as you're saying, Jacob, because his technical ability has improved so much, or it is a corner, but because of his technical ability is better and he's good on his feet now, it's more than acceptable for him to pick up the ball in that kind of wide area and then take a defender on one-on-one, which is encouraging as well. And a good ball from Bajic over the top.
Yeah. And I think he was almost sort of at times tested as at winger, at Adelaide, simply because of his pace and his strength are qualities that you really want from a winger. But he sort of struggled and definitely looked better playing more central. But it's good to see him add things to his game. I think a lot of people going, is Portsmouth a good move for somebody from the A-League? But it seems to have worked out well for him because, he looks a much improved player, and as Will touched on, was really important for them this season and has sort of become a fan favourite over there in Pompey. So, no, it's great to see.
Yeah, and he'll get his run in the championship next year as well. Well, as it is now half-time, Australia 3, Palestine 0. Very encouraging first half from the Socceroos. It is full-time in Korea. Finished 1-0 to Son Heung-min and his team. So Australia will not be in pots 1 for the next phase of World Cup qualification. So we are going to be drawn against one of those giants, either Iran, Japan or South Korea. But halftime in this one, Christian, what have you made of the performance so far?
I've been most impressed about the flexibility and the way we've been able to adapt, throughout parts of the game. We saw the first 5 minutes, the back four, then changed a bit to a back three later on. Moved to just that one solidified defensive midfielder with Bacchus in there, just sort of marshalling that midfield in front of the defence. Thought Chikati's been good on the ball, good signs, controlling, passing, good accuracy, which is the least you can expect, given the opposition. But I thought Palestine had their moments as well in transition. They've got a bit of pace about them, but obviously us in transition, we expected, to close the ball down, relatively quickly, which we have done well. The wide players as well. Murphy's been good. Boyle's done his part, and I think Irvine as well. Some of the passes he's made, especially for that third goal, was really impressive. And also to top it off, Yangi's been terrific with the 2 goals. I think he's been everywhere. With the pressing as well, been very impressive. So yeah, all in all, very positive first half.
Will?
Yeah, as we were saying throughout, just the rotations and the fluidity of how they look, and a lot of these players obviously haven't really played together that much in this shape and anything like this. So no, it's really good to see how quickly they've kind of meshed and just trying things. And I love, as Christian touched on, just Chikati providing a lot of progressive ball movement there. So he's playing vertical passes in behind through the lines. He's spraying it out left when we do have that width out there. So whatever Palestine do, he does the other thing, right? Wherever they're set up, he finds the other option. So no, it's really important to have a ball player like that. And I think with the combination we've seen in Rolls and Sutar, they don't really have that. Sutar can play maybe that through the lines ball, but he doesn't have maybe that diag in him like Chikati was showing there. So that's really promising at the back. And I think another thing is the rest defense looks good. So the team, when Palestine have hit the Socceroos, they look comfortable, and Chikati's there recovering, and the shape is really secure. Burgess is just super calm, looks super calm, right? He's obviously at a higher age, and he's only just getting kind of his first couple of caps, or first caps in a while, and you want that calmness there. You want that experience of a pretty much a full season in the championship in a promoted team. So honestly, this partnership looks really good, and yeah, as I think we were saying it last game, if Sutar doesn't get a proper move, I think this is a partnership we might see really flourish as we come into the cycle and further into qualification for sure.
Jacob, when you play an asymmetric system like this, it's often a case of trying to get the opposition comfortable with your play in certain ways, in certain directions, and then hitting them on the different way. They kind of jab down the right, and then the left hook coming around the left. Yeah. And we've seen that with, Will was saying the rest defense look good, and as you can see from our diagram on the screen, we've got the centre backs and then Bacchus and then Jones in that kind of asymmetric pivot. So the rest defence on the right looks good and we have more numbers there, whereas the left is that kind of slightly more exposed, but Baich is hugging the left, and we saw with that Yengi chance right towards the end where we were in that corner that came from Palestine not covering that space effectively. Do you think they've been managing that balance okay?
I think so, and I think they've been able to sort of rely a little bit on Burgess and his defensive prowess as well. We've seen him make some really good challenges one-on-one, balls in behind, sort of running towards the goal, where he needs to make a challenge on the ball and he wins it, and it's nice and clean. And like Will was saying, he looks incredibly calm. And I think they can sort of lean on those qualities of his a little bit more, which is why the left side can be a bit more open in transition, because they know that, right, we can have Bacchus drop centrally and almost become sort of a centre-back if we need to in the rest defence, and Burgess can move out wide and track the winger or go one-on-one with the ball carrier and put a challenge in. And, it's something that Arnold clearly, he favours Burgess defensively over Chikati, because that's why he's playing out in that slightly more exposed position, out of possession, whereas Chikati, okay, he's going to be in possession of the ball. Let's give him those outlets on the right where he's got Jones and he's got Bacchus, or like Will and Christian have been pointing out, he can play those diagonal long balls up the left wing or try and break the lines with a pass through the centre as well. So the balance is perfect, right? Because it's identified which player is good on the ball, which player is good off the ball. How do we get them to really show those skills and help our team out the best? and allow other players on the team to play their natural game, right? Having somebody like Burgess in who can anchor, that whole left side of the defence on his own if he has to. You don't want him to have to do it the whole game, and there has been a lot of tracking back from Bajic and from some of the midfielders as well to get back and give him some assistance, but he's more than comfortable doing that if he has to. That then allows Bajic to get forward. It allows Lecky to stay inside and slightly higher. It means that Irvine isn't having to make these diagonal runs through the midfield to track back and get back into defensive shape. So it's a massive thing, and it's very important to get that balance right, because when you're overloading one side of the pitch, obviously it leaves a lot of space. But Palestine in possession, they've been sloppy. The few times that they have been able to get the ball out into that space, Burgess has shut them down really, really well. So I think that having somebody like him in the side is, almost as important as having that balance, because even if you have the balance but you have somebody who's not comfortable in those one-on-one situations, you're still gonna struggle in transition. And so I think it's almost sort of a bit of a godsend that Arnie does have Burgess at his disposal, and I think he's shown his quality here, like Will said, over perhaps a Kai Rolls or a Harry Sutar, because I don't see either of them necessarily having the skill set to be able to do what he's done so far this game. So I've been very impressed.
All right. Well, it seems like impressed is a general vibe amongst us at halftime in this game. And Christian, given the amount of changes that we've seen, I want to pose the question to the group now. Given how many changes there have been, what is your starting 11? What is your best 11 for the Socceroos at this point in time? Let's work through it. I think we'll put in some locks that we've talked about already. Joe Gauci in goals. Geordie Boss, I think we're all comfortable with on the left as left back in that kind of more advanced role. And then I'm probably only saying Jackson Irvine and Cassini Yengi to make 4 players that probably all of us are unanimously locking into our starting 11. That leaves a lot of spots up for grabs. Christian, we'll start with you. Where do you sit on a couple of those key positions?
I definitely agree first and foremost with those locks. Centre-back pairing, I think, isn't as set in stone as we may have thought maybe a few months ago.
But that's not the question.
Can you repeat it?
Just literally, what would you have if you were playing a World Cup final tomorrow?
Yeah.
Not trying to match up against opposition, but who is your best 11 team?
Yeah, so you want me to go from back to front?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Gauci is in goals. I'll probably go Geordie Boss, left back, right back. Trying to think of the options we've got. Help me out.
Ryan Strain.
You got Ryan Strain, who's just come back from injury.
Yeah.
Gethin Jones.
Atkinson.
Nathaniel Atkinson.
Probably based on form at the moment, I'd go with Strain. We don't have a whole lot of...
There really is no standout there, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not. That you can really 100%...
I mean, that's been a consistent problem.
Centre-back pairing. So I'll go Strain right back. Centre-back pairing. I'm going to go Sutar. He's important. But I guess it depends as well. His club football with Leicester, where he moves. Is he going to get game time in the future? That might be up in the air. But for now, I'll go Sutar.
World Cup's tomorrow.
All right, I'll go for Sutar now, and then maybe Chapati alongside him.
Before you move into midfield, I reckon let's discuss as the Lions, then we'll move forward. Because as Jacob just talked about with those kind of defensive pairings, you kind of got that left centre-back that has slightly more defensive responsibility, especially on the counter, which having Sutar in that position, I think, would leave us quite exposed. But then, so your ball-playing responsibility would, not entirely, but more fall to that right centre-back. So you're probably only picking one of Chikati or Sutar. You're probably unlikely to see those two paired, potentially.
Could they switch around though? Or would Sutar have to be the left? On the left?
Well, they could if you wanted to, but then again, you're just giving more defensive responsibility to Chikati on the more exposed
losing
side.
A little bit of his quality on the ball as well, because he's going to be have fewer options for quick passes on the turn and stuff like that. So, I
mean, if just say theoretically, if they're your two best options at centre back, what do? Do you just try and find a way to piece it together and, come up with, I'm sure Arnie will come up with a sort of a tactic, whether someone dropping back deep to help out Sutar or something like that. I mean, Ralphs is in the bad shot as well, but just for now, I'll go with Chikati and Sutar. Midfield
Okay.
now,
Yep, going to the mids.
obviously, Irvine's a lock. Bacchus as well. Depends what formation we're playing. What formation? Any formation I can pick.
Well, let's kind of assume that we're playing it like we are seeing now, because Arnie, as we talked about, seems like, regardless of what players he's playing, he's actually kind of sticking to this system.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
'Cause
so I
we've
have
got-
Irvine.
So
Irvine,
your
Bacchus.
midfield options, you got Kieran Bacchus, Jackson Irvine will be in the team, then
Yeah.
Matt Leckie, Connor Metcalf, Aiden Frustich. Riley McGree is currently injured, but just assume he was fit as well. You could throw in Josh Nisbet and Cam Devlin in there as well if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm going to go Bacchus as the holding. Irvine in the centre. And when fit and healthy, I would probably lean towards McGree as well to start.
Yeah.
I
See,
think
I'd
Go on.
I'd go with Bacchus as the 6. He's just absolute quality in that spot, and he can play as the lone 6, as we've seen at times tonight, or in a double pivot as we've also seen in times tonight. So that's, his flexibility there is fantastic. And then I'd go McGree over Irvine. I think Irvine's looked very, very good in this game, but like you were saying, Lockie, I think his performances at the Asian Cup were a bit lackluster, and I think that McGree, when fit, has that something about him in terms of ball progression that not a lot of players in this team do have, and it's such an understated part of football, is having a player who can get on the ball and create chances for themselves, as well as their teammates, and that's something that he can do really well, and it does open up that midfield a lot, because he's naturally a little bit more attacking than Irvine is, but I think with the quality that you do have in Bacchus, I don't think it's as big of an issue as it might seem otherwise. But Irvine is definitely a solid option and a safe pick as well, because again, he's a known quantity. You know what you're going to get with him. He might not set the world on fire, but he'll do his job and he'll do it well. So I mean, maybe it's a bit of bias coming in here to pick McGree there, but I do think that he does have that quality on the ball, which we see from Frustich as well, to I think a little bit of a lesser extent. But both of them just have those progressive tendencies, which could be really, really helpful.
I'd McGree and Hrustic would be my two kind of floating eights, and I think they occupy the half spaces really, really well. And when they're on the field and they're at their best, they do look a level above. Honestly, Hrustic carried us through a few games in the past couple of years. That's spinning back a little bit, but I do think Hrustic still makes kind of the strongest 11, which is what this is, I think, on his day. And we've seen him get more club football now. I think he'll only get back to his best from here. I think he'll be back to his top for sure. So I'd even consider Irvine sitting in the 6, and to have McGree and Hrustic in the team as well.
Jacob, you weren't so impressed with Irvine playing deep as the solo 6, were you?
Not really. I mean, his big thing is that his ability to move in the center of the pitch very, very freely, right? He doesn't get restricted too much. And I think you're sort of limiting him playing in the 6, and having him focus solely on the defensive stuff as well is where it does take a little bit of a turn, because I don't think it's necessarily the best part of his game. I think he's a fantastic in closing the ball down and winning the ball back in the central third. But when you're playing as a lone 6, you do need to sit slightly deeper and be a little bit more conservative defensively. And that's where I think perhaps he might struggle, because he does have that natural tendency to want to run around and chase down the ball carrier and try and win the ball back in the center of the pitch, whereas as a lone 6, if you're doing that, it's leaving a lot of space between the lines that the opposition can attack.
100%. You're definitely not playing to his strengths there, but I think you have him in the team as the captain, and he can. For me, it's close to Bacchus. What you're getting, as you said, with Irvine. I feel like with the two creative players ahead of him, in Rustic and McGree in this lineup, mine, that you give Jackson the task of recycler kind of thing, and it's you're not playing to his strengths, but also he's not as good in the further forward as the other two, I don't think. And I just want him in there. I think you have him in there.
We're moments away from kickoff, but we will round off this team. I do want to mention as well, we've kind of just forgotten about Matthew Ryan. We talked about Joe Gauchi. Obviously, he's not in the squad, which is probably why he slipped our minds. But Joe Gauchi in goals. Obviously, Matt Ryan is the number one. Christian may have a word on that if we gave him some time, but we're going to skip over it. And also, he is the captain of the team in regularity as well, which takes away which takes away part of the Irvine argument. But then you go forward, and on the right, look, I'm starting Nesta. Even if the World Cup final was tomorrow, I just think that quality is there. And the striker, one of them is Yangi. I've been very happy with him. Obviously, he's proven us correct tonight. And then if the World Cup was tomorrow, I am picking Adam Taggart, I think, over Mitchell Duke. The end of the season, Adam Taggart won the Golden Boot. He's just been clinical. And, I feel like he's in the position where if he starts scoring too many goals, people will start calling him like Jamie McLaren, where he just only scores tap-ins. But that's what good strikers do, is be in the right places at the right time. And it's exactly how he got his goal tonight. Yeah. He was part of the build-up as well, but then got back in. And that's probably an additional strength that McLaren doesn't have as much, is that initial play and build-up. And then Taggart was allowed to get deep and put the finishing touches on the chance, which, Jacob, you alluded to, perhaps Mitch Duke wouldn't have. And, we're all guessing here, but, he's in form at the moment. Duke's only coming off the bench in Japan. If it was tomorrow, if the World Cup final was tomorrow, I'm just giving it to Adam Taggart.
Yeah, no, I agree with Taggart. Like, the tap-in comment, it's like, he's scoring the tap-ins, but he's also initiated the move that gets in there. And often that's the case. And unlike McLaren, where fantastic in his own right at his own thing, but like Taggart wins the ball back and fights for that, and is the whole reason he gets in the position to tap it in. So right now, Taggart I think gets in for me, and Yangi's impressed enough over these couple of games. I mean, I was going to throw one out there and say Stammer. See if I change my answer if we see some minutes in the end, and he bangs a few in late. But no, I agree with Aaron Kunda as well. If you're playing in that the role Boyle is today, where you just want a line hugger there, someone who stretched the field, Aaron Kunda's already going to be the best option in this squad for that. That's which is awesome to see that the ceiling's so high and really can go up from here.
I will say I'm very happy with the depth that we seem to have somehow just plucked out of nowhere, and perhaps it is because we're at the end of this A-League season. But in like you just described, that role of that right winger to be out wide and isolate probably as much as possible. Well, not isolate, that's probably the wrong word, but Daniel Arzani's been extremely good in one-on-one situations this year. He wouldn't be, he's never going to start ahead of Aaron Kunda or Boyle, I wouldn't have thought at this point in time, but he's an incredibly dangerous option off the bench. Where we've had problems at right back because we haven't had a player who's really taken full control of that position. If you look into the midfield and the centre back positions, it's actually that there is a number of players who have shown enough to, potentially stake some kind of claim on those individual positions. So I think that's extremely positive going into this next little 2-year period for the Socceroos leading into the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Can we accelerate Docker's naturalisation?
Well, he's just announced his having a kid. Expecting on the way, which is great news for him.
Happy man.
Yeah, Graham.
Who?
Oh, yeah, it's Arnold now, isn't it? Yeah. I'm so used to the old.
Arnold might still be the coach by the time kid is 17 and coming through the ranks. That's
Christian's worst nightmare right there.
Do you reckon Ange has a renaissance with the Socceroos after he's been kicked out of Europe? No,
kicked out. Given walked out on the red carpet after winning something.
After winning back-to-back Champions Leagues with Real Madrid, Man City.
Do you reckon he ever turns to Socceroos like in 10, 15 years' time, maybe a bit of unfinished business? No,
I don't reckon so.
No, I don't think so.
I think unless his like career as a club manager goes really, really, really like just off a cliff, I probably don't see it.
Even then, that's what Risbon wanted. Yeah. Well, I think, like Andrew said in interviews before, like kind of off the cup, or hopefully have a good 10 or 15 years left coaching me, right? So that there's not a huge time frame to work with there. So
It would
think he
be
just has to settle.
emergency before a tournament. There would be talk of it. I bet.
Yeah.
That kind
Yeah,
of, I get
yeah,
that
that
vibe
would
out of
probably
it.
be the scenario.
If he's probably fresh out of the game and something like that, or if he's at a club where he'd
Like a
he'd
Gus
jump to
Hiddink,
Socceroos.
being an emergency coach for 20 different clubs in his career. He's sort of stepped in Chelsea. He's stepped in 4 or 5 times.
I think, just for the Socceroos, I was saying, because I don't think his football works. His football works for a reason, and it's because players buy into the project over time. And I just don't see him as jumping around and Sam
It's no
Allardyce.
secret that he's had problems with the federation. He's had his differences there. So I don't think he want to sort of hop back into that negative sort of environment. It's hard to see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
he's quite happy, isn't he?
He'll crawl back after we win the World Cup. So
Maybe he'll coach the Matildas. Who knows? Maybe a bit of a change of scenery.
God, there would be some uproar if that happened. Probably rightly so as well.
Yeah.
No changes in the second half. We're seeing the same 11. We got a breakaway here, though. I think that's slightly overhit, though, from Adam Taggart.
Yeah, as you're saying,
I still had mine at the halftime show. I had to fast forward it to the start of the game.
Wait, still, like just then?
Yeah.
Oh, God, we're 51 minutes in.
I just went back on it.
It must have just frozen on an ad, and Christian never noticed.
Literally.
So this is a long ad break.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna head off because I am tired and have work.
You do have work early tomorrow. Thank you very much, Jacob, for joining us. It's been fun.
Good fun. Hopefully, there's some more goals for you guys. And yeah, just thought there might be something there, but no. All right. Yeah, I'll head off now. But yeah, have fun, guys.
Cheers, Jacob. Good to see you.
Hey, Jacob.
thank you. See ya.
As we get a shot of Matty Ryan in the stands, of course, a slight fitness concern. So he's been left out of this squad. I apologise for the little black squares we're seeing now on the screen as Jacob has left. Unfortunately, the platform that we're using for this video call has done us a little bit dirty, and I can't customise this anymore. So this is what we're going to have to deal with. But as we move in towards that magical 60-minute mark, guys, who are we thinking off the bench that we would like to see? I think the number one candidate for me is Daniel Arzani. Probably pretty rough given the amount of changes not to have received a start in either of these games. I'm sure he'll definitely get some game time, right?
Yeah, it's Arzani for me for sure for number one. I'd also love to see Nisbet in the Lecky role, kind of coming inside and then pushing out wide, because it's something new he's seen, and I think that's a good shout for something that he'd excel at.
Oh, they're queuing up here, the Socceroos, and they've put away a fourth. Adam Taggart squaring to Martin Boyle very selflessly. And they're really starting to pile it on here against Palestine. They're playing some good football. And I don't know how they broke away. I must have turned my eye briefly. But they had plenty of them queuing up to get a final touch on that ball.
Blink and you miss it.
Blink and you miss it. It's good football. Here we go. It's a turn from Cassini Yengi actually breaking through midfield. There's a shout for offside again. And then Adam Taggart plays the square pass to Martin Boyle.
That was close.
That one looks on. I think that's on. Doesn't matter. It's a goal. So as you said.
Can we get the sideline view? That's a very nice pass from Taggart as well. He's already scored one. He's in his hometown. You wouldn't begrudge him for having a shot there, but he did the team thing.
No, that's solid, and even a great supporting run from Boyle to read that through ball and still continue his run and support Taggart up there and hope for that ball across. Which
absolutely, some great football here from the Socceroos. I think this is the best we've seen them play for. Is this the best performance since the World Cup?
To me, it feels like it, but then I don't know if I'm just getting really excited and I'm like, I can't remember a time we've played better than this for a while. Yeah, like it's super impressive, and honestly, I'm questioning myself. I'm in my head. Do we play this well all the time? Why can't we just do this every week? It's the same players, right? Like, or it's a few changes.
It's the same players. They've been resilient defensively in the few chances that they've been pushed against. They've set up off the ball really tight. They haven't allowed much going through midfield. They've had a clear plan in how they want to come out. We've seen a little bit of tactical diversity. We've created a few chances really nicely in general play. We haven't relied on set pieces. We've been clinical in front of goal. I don't know much more that you can ask for. Of course, soft penalty, 2 offsides and 1 goal, whatever. But even that, it's still a 2-0 lead, and you got to say the Socceroos are playing some pretty good stuff, and you got to be sweating if you're one of these players that has been taken out of supposedly what was our stronger team away to Bangladesh just a couple of days ago. To see these guys come in and get a 4-0 lead against Palestine, it's quite impressive.
Feels too good to be true that we're playing this well, given that we've made 9 changes to this game.
Oh, the scorpion pass. Almost a worldie.
Trying stuff now.
Has he just got flicked in his head as well, or his eye? Something a little bit sore?
Yeah, going back, I do think that the role Lecky's playing would really suit Nisbet, even though it's a kind of recent change that he's made to his game, but it's still the reason he was brought in, and is because of that versatility. So I think I'd be excited to see Nisbet play that role. I don't know if it's something we'll see coming off of Lecky, who's only kind of just returning himself, and might want Arnold might want him to keep the minutes up in his legs. But yeah, as you said earlier, Arzani wide, I think Nisbet there in the middle, and then Stammer on up top for Yengi would be kind of my 3 picks.
I'm sure the crowd are going to want to see Aaron Kunda as well. I don't know how they all fit into the same side.
Yeah.
I think you're right. That's a great through ball. Boyle's on the end of it again. Plays another square pass. Tries to return the favour. Is that Adam Taggart arriving
What a
late?
tackle.
It's a great
That's
tackle to deny the goal. Brave goalkeeping, brave defending, and they put the ball out here so they can get treatment.
He's actually injured when you're 4-0 down, so it's not time wasting. Tell me that.
Martin Boyle tried the little dink finish. Goalie palms it away. I think it might have been just drifting wide, but that's good defending.
That was a bit selfish, wasn't it, from Boyle?
Nobody was.
No one was there.
He wasn't
I
in
don't
the
think so.
periphery. Like he couldn't really see where Taggart was, unless tries to chip one up and hope somebody gets onto it. Chip and chase there, but I don't think a pass was obviously on.
If anything, it's probably a foul against Taggart, right?
Did catch him, kind of. Yeah.
Shin and shin.
Or it's another controversial penalty. We'll take it.
No, if it hasn't been given now.
Can we get the linesman got to call him over.
Flag to the chest. They still do that?
Yeah, the analog review process.
It's like, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we're talking about substitutes that could come on. I think one we're likely to see is Apostolos Stamatolopoulos come on for Adam Taggart up top, especially if he can't continue after this one. But of course, it's a big day for Apostolos and the rest of the Hunter as well. The Newcastle Jets, they have been... Oh, that's not the right slide. There we go. The Newcastle Jets have been bought. Is there a bright future ahead for the Hunter in Newcastle? We saw the deal get officially announced today with the very, very small asterisk that is still subject to the proper processes from the APL and Football Australia, including the fit and proper persons ownership tests and stuff like that. But it is pretty much done, which is a dangerous thing to say in the same year that Perth Glory went through the same thing and had the deal reneged. But it feels like we're so close, and the fans can rest easy knowing that the future of the Newcastle Jets is secure.
Yeah, it's definitely, obviously, they're not looking for a buy. We're the closest we've ever been to this happening so far. So hopefully it gets over that kind of like small and final hurdle. But yeah, no, so important. It's been a club kind of, I don't want to say disarray, but definitely aimless kind of for a couple seasons now. And just, it's tough being propped up by others in the league as well. And it has created a kind of an odd dynamic at times with certain players and contract and just the money available. So honestly, the Jets have been quite impressive still, considering the situation kind of they've been in. And no, it's super deserved, and I think a massive addition to the league and really important for Australian football to to keep a team there and you know, to make sure they survive. And it will be really interesting to see them actually kick on now with a cohesive kind of plan, and administrators, they look like they're being appointed, you know, a board structure and just, yeah, everyone pulling in the same direction, because it's been a while since that's kind of happened. So no, it will be really exciting to see, and yeah, definitely good signs ahead for the Newcastle fans.
Absolutely. I just laughed there as Adam Taggart did his best to try and get the leg moving and perhaps convince Graham Arter that he was good to go. Obviously, playing in Perth, he wanted to keep going, but got the wave, and I'm assuming we're going to see that Stamatopoulos substitution rather quickly. But Christian, yeah, big day for the Jets. It's been 3 years or so, and you know, it was looking pretty dire in those last couple of months as well. But great news that everything has been resolved.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a tumultuous, sort of few years. Just not getting on the same page with the ownership. Just been unsettling for the fans. Just having their club future. Having it speculated. It's never good. And now to have sort of that all cleared up. Now heading into the new season, they can focus off field with the transfer strategy, what they want to do moving forward, long-term goals, short-term goals. So, I mean, yeah, it just sort of, it's such a breath of fresh air. It just sort of releases you to just not have that sort of holding you back in a sense. And yeah, obviously it's good for them now to move forward. They can finally focus on what they want to do on the pitch. They don't have that excuse anymore attached, and hopefully this new ownership can invest a bit, and hopefully we see the Jets rise up sooner rather than later. It'll be good for the league.
If I'm seeing this correctly, I'm pretty sure that Martin Boyle and Matt Leckie have inverted their roles. So Leckie is moved out to that right wing. I'm not sure whether it was just a positional thing when a certain play broke down, but Boyle was definitely running around in that kind of half-8 position and Leckie out wide. I wonder if that was a conscious decision.
Yeah, we saw it in the goal. Boyle was like furthest forward in the centre there. So
it was, yeah.
It's maybe something that they've looked at, and because Leckie is that versatile, as we were saying in the first half, where he can play as either. Really, has been a traditional winger. I think that's where he first kind of definitely made his Socceroos. That's where he was stronger when he first made his appearances, and in Germany, seems like ages ago now. But then later in his career, he's obviously come inside a bit more as he's come back to the A-League, and he can do both. So I think Arnold's just having a look at, as we said earlier, trying out auditioning these players in the same role, but moving them around a little bit and seeing how it comes together. And obviously with this fourth goal, it worked out.
Yeah, of course, we are still playing with 10 players as well. So I imagine there's a little bit of just fill the holes until we can get Stamatopoulos on the field. Yeah,
the Boyle was definitely coming narrow, and I think Boyle has shown to be a really strong finisher.
That's silky from Chakati.
Good ball skills, good feet.
Catching up, might be behind again, but I think Boyle is, has scored some really kind of clinical goals over the years, and I think if he does play that wide role, his finishing is a little wasted. I think the finishing is probably a stronger part of his game than his output from wide areas, is his final delivery and things like that. So I think, even try and Boyle in that central role, as a backup. We've seen it before. He has started up top as a solo striker. So interesting to see, how it's coming together with him there.
All right, I'm keen to see some changes now.
Yeah, let's get into that stage.
I want Stammer. Oh, it looks like we're going to get a couple. Connor Metcalf. Stamatopoulos as well. What's Metcalf going to do? Boyle? Bacchus?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Irvine into the 6?
I'd say so, because Metcalf's definitely, for St. Pauli, been floating in the spaces as we've seen the 8s do. So he'll
You ready? You ready for this spelling, everyone? I'm pretty sure I've got this down. Let me make sure I don't do him dirty.
It's come up right now.
Stammer is the new Cahill, number 4.
There you go. Stamatopoulos. I'm pretty sure I got that bang on. I've been practicing it pretty much all year. Stamatopoulos up top. Metcalf has come on. I imagine, Irvine's gone straight into that 6.
Yeah.
Is Metcalf on the right or left of that midfield too?
So I don't get lambasted, like I said, as him as a 6 in our strongest 11. But no, like I agree with what Jacob and you guys were saying. Like, yeah, it's definitely not his strong suit, but he has done it for the team a bunch of times. And I was going to say in the last Socceroos game, I didn't get to mention it, but he had a lot of success early in his career as basically as a 10 for West Brom. I remember a lot of the time. Not West Brom, other Albion, and he had a lot of success as a 10, and just higher up the field. It was at Hull and as well, where he had a lot of his goals and assists was I'm not going to say high, but like he kept it ticking, and he was deployed a bit higher up that field. So I don't know, it's just another one of those versatile players that I think is pretty seamless between the 6 and the 8, but
yeah. Palestine making a couple of changes as well. This game is pretty much dead as a contest, but still opportunity to try out players, and I'm sure Stammer's going to take this opportunity in both arms as well. Well, Monique has asked, so let's get into it, shall we? She says, who are we cheering on in the Euros? I'm Dutch, so Van Orange for me. I think you might have a friend in here. Yes?
Nick, we have so much in common. The Mariners and yes, the Dutch as well. So it'll be exciting to see how they fare in this tournament, honestly, because the form's been really good in these last, obviously, 2 warm-up games, but for a little bit now, it's been looking better and better, and a few bright sparks in that team. We got Depay coming back into fitness as well, and being so key for a lot of what that national team does. So I'm really excited to watch Netherlands this Euros. They're definitely one of the teams I won't miss a game of, and I don't know where the rest of your allegiances lie per se. Let's go through it.
No, you don't?
I don't. I'm leading you
okay,
in.
you're playing soft. Christian, you want to reveal first?
Yeah, I'm Italy, reigning European champions, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to go back to back. With our spine gone back, Bonucci, Chiellini, I think that's just a critical part of that team. They basically led from the back,
And who's going to horse collar Bukayo Saka with Chiellini not around?
Oh, exactly right. No, seriously. They're going to be massive losses. We still got a couple of youngsters coming through. Bastoni from Inter, he's a gem. Buongiorno as well. No, not good morning, Buongiorno. His name's actually Buongiorno. Reno, he's expected to start at the start of the tournament. Up front, you got Chiesa. We know how good he was at the last Euros. Juventus, he's been a bit on and off with the system he's been under, but he will be a starlet. But I just think the lack of talent depth compared to the last tournament is going to really show, and hopefully we can scrape out of the group stages, but I just don't see us progressing as deep as last time, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Well, I am England, unfortunately.
You poor bloke.
For most, yes, no, there's been plenty of conversation, as you can imagine, in our group chats in the couple of weeks leading up to the Euros. I've got Jacob, who is also English. He's more English than Australian as well, so he's very much on the Three Lions train at the moment. But I'm pretty confident, to be honest, about England's chances. I know we just lost to Iceland in the warm-up, which doesn't bode well. But, we saw with Messi and Argentina at the World Cup, sometimes you just need the kick up the backside to get you into second gear, and you can kick on from there. And it's better to do that in a friendly before the tournament starts than the tournament itself. So it's going to be tricky. I don't really think that Gareth Southgate knows who his best team is. So it'll probably be something that he finds out as they go. But, Saka's amazing. Love him. Harry Kane's in great goal-scoring form. As much as it annoys me as an Arsenal fan as well. Of course, he managed to knock us out in the Champions League this season. It was always going to be that way. But, I think they look good. Defence is obviously questionable. We finally got rid of Harry Maguire out of the squad, which I think is a good move at least. So, quietly confident as we're seeing Nestri Irankunda come on for Martin Boyle here. I'm assuming that will mean Lecky comes back inside. But yes, England for me. Monique is outraged. Was England? Yes, that's me. So we got Will, Netherlands, Christian, Italy. I'm England with Jacob. Then we got Ross, who is Greece. And then I'm not sure about Chris. Well, Antonius is Greece as well, but I'm not sure about Chris and Paletti. I'm not sure if they have any strong allegiances. Do we know?
Paletti's not a Euro snob.
No, Paletti is very much an A-League snob. Could not care less.
Which includes national teams, like somehow.
Yeah. But a little bit of pressure, actually. That was not Joe Gauci, but Jakarta had to make a block. Jeez, rough for Daniel if he doesn't get a chance in this game.
Yeah. Basically, take all the stuff I was saying about Stammer not getting a chance earlier and apply it to Azani as well. 'Cause it's always exciting to see Aaron Kundo, of course. And
It is, yeah.
I guess Azani can come on the left, even though Aaron Kunda's on the left currently.
When Aaron Kunda scores his first goal, whenever that will be, the media will absolutely blow up. And rightly so.
Do you think he gets one here, 20 minutes?
The way the game's going, it's sort of dying out a bit. But then again, Aaron Kunda can sort of, create a bit of magic out of nothing. So would have put it past him.
So you're right. So we've got, what was
let's
it?
try and
Oil for
work it
Aaron
out for this
Kunda.
half.
So let me edit our team list. But you're right. He is sticking left.
Yeah.
So how is this working now?
Lecky was inside still.
So are we shifting over to the left now? In how we're sending that winger up?
Yeah, I guess the left side is where we want the width.
So Metcalf is moving over to the left. Lecky's that kind of right side.
Lecky is on the right side, yeah, and then tucking in, yeah.
And then what? Gethin Jones is getting up the field? We'll have to see
Because
when we get back in possession.
BH was sitting like pretty deep there, but I feel like at the back it's still situational which one goes a little bit like.
Right, okay. Good header away from Cameron Burgess. I think, look, Burgess has been solid. I think Chakati has definitely impressed me more out of these two centre-backs.
Yeah.
With his work on the ball. His footwork has been brilliant.
I think that's the nature of their jobs as well. I think, like Burgess, if he's doing what he should, won't look like too overly impressive, but you won't notice it. But Chikati, you definitely see what he adds to the team straight away. Between Burgess and Sutar, it's like it's a lot closer in their, I guess, defensive capabilities there. But I think Chikati has a skill set that we just haven't seen in that role for, I don't know, forever, but like for a long time for sure.
I think we are at that point now where I think Harry Sutar's grace period has run out. Like, I know it's obvious to say in the game where he doesn't start, but the writing's on the wall, and it's been a bit difficult because obviously they've had more change of managers at Leicester. So I think one of the things Graham Arnold said in media during the week was that, if they had the same coach and he knew he was out of favour, then it would almost be an easier decision coming in this window. But now, not knowing who's going to lead Leicester into next season and how he will be perceived by those coaches, it makes the decision even more difficult because you wouldn't want to walk away from a Premier League team where you actually did have a legitimate chance of playing, regular football. So that makes it even tougher for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did mention it kind of last game that, he's survived so far just based off his instant impact when he did come into the side, and he's built up a lot of credit obviously over the time. But we were wondering last game when that credit would expire, as we said, and I think I was still very impressed with what he's done obviously over the time. Like he's been such a huge part of that side, but I guess I didn't expect personally like Chikati to have this impact that he's looked like in this game and been the instigator for so many of these moves through the middle and wide. So
yeah, Christian, you've been big on Chikati, haven't you?
Yeah, because I watched a bit of him, Serie B highlights, obviously playing with Parma. I think it's going to be only a matter of time before Arnold will have no choice but to start him for future games, and then it's going to be a question of who partners him. And we touched on a bit before, like you mentioned, Sutar. He might not be the best option, given he might not be able to cover the left back as much if you want Chikati on that right side. So it's going to have to be a bit of a balancing act. But I do definitely, Chikati's been really good in this game on the ball. His skill set's been unbelievable. So and he can defend as well. And I fully expect him, honestly, in the next season or two to get a bigger move. Because Parma's a big club in Italy, so a lot of eyes will be on him. He's obviously starting every game. It's not like he's on the bench and coming on, or he's not playing. He's actually starting every game. So, yeah, going to have a couple of big decisions for Arnold in the foreseeable future.
And I mean,
well, it's definitely like I knew what he could bring, but yeah, just I kind of being the focal point obviously because he's at the back, but the one in charge with beginning a lot of these moves and just taking that into his stride so quickly is not. It's not showing how young he is, and you say that he's been playing so much for Parma, and that it just looks like he's filled with confidence. So yeah,
look at him go now. He's just breaking forward.
Yeah, I'm like super excited to see him, and definitely one of the way forward for this backline. I'd got to say, yeah.
Interesting. Just sitting and trying to watch the positions we float out here. Bajic still getting really high there. And I think Irankunda's kind of cutting inside as Stamatopoulos is dropping deep for the ball. And then we see Irankunda drop deep down the line as well.
Yeah.
Monique says it's been really nice watching Chikati play, surprising what he adds to the team. Yeah, look, he's a really young, exciting player, and he's going to get at minimum the chance in Serie A next year to play against some of the best strikers in the world. So that's incredibly exciting, as it is for a lot of the Socceroos who have been promoted to top division football, which is really cool.
If we do happen to go to a front two, if Arnie wants to change it up in future, do you reckon Irankunda is a suitable option for that, or do you just see him on the wing?
I mean, we are the front two, right? And I don't think he's suitable as either of these two strikers. I think he has to be out wide. Because you want him to run at people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, like you'd want him in the squad for as much as you can in any iteration of the team. But if you're talking about being in that solid front two that stays kind of in that box area and between the 6-yard box, he's not in the top. Like we do have better options. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our tactics going to have to really revolve around Irankunda if
cool and calm from Burgess there. Yeah, I think you're right.
If he's going to start.
Yeah. We're seeing so much versatility in a lot of this team, but he's definitely one of the players that it's quite obvious what he does. And
because we saw it at Adelaide, defensive sort of limitations, and Colvert, reverted to him on the bench a few times, and he didn't sort of trust him in that aspect. So, yeah, but for this instance, I think he definitely.
Yeah, but that's him at this stage already, which is it's super early, and if we see him develop at a team like Bayern, like he will be tasked with adding a lot more to his game, and hopefully that's exactly what the move does is grow his abilities and expands it, because we've seen him excel so much at kind of at what he's good at now, but it remains to be seen to like what else he can add to his game and the versatility that he can eventually bring to the Socceroos. Yeah. He started as a centre back, right? Like long time ago, a couple of years ago now, but
crazy.
He obviously has the ability and the football brain to play at multiple positions, but we've only kind of seen him excel at definitely one side. So no, it'd be awesome to see where else he excels. I know when you're talking about moves, and we've spoken about his like potential loans and whatnot before, but it's happened with Qual at at Newcastle and on loan to Volendam. I think he's suffered with a change of coach there, and then who then moved to a system that just didn't have that wide player, that wide position. So they moved to like a 5-3-2 where Qual was just operating mostly out on the right as well. So that's why he's been limited to really not 30 minutes, I think, in the rest of that Eredivisie season. So it's about getting that right and adding that versatility to his game, which Qual hasn't done, which meant he just hasn't been playing at all, because he'd still be in the conversation for some of these roles. I think he does have flexibility eventually to become an option either up top or out wide, but just did not play enough at all to be in this conversation. I think he's a bit of a forgotten man for this team.
Yep. Sorry, I've just seen our view count shoot right down. I'm wondering if the Twitter stream is broken. No, it looks okay. There you go. Maybe a bit of an error, not sure. But we're heading into the final 10 minutes of this one. Still 4-0 to the Socceroos. I guess any final reflections as we head into the final stages, guys? I guess it's all just been pretty positive, right?
Yeah, nothing of note really that's, really changed. Obviously, the subs coming on, Aaron Kunda, got a few touches here and there. Stramo still have to see, what he can do. Hopefully he gets on the ball a bit more these last 10 minutes. But yeah, it's been relatively pretty straightforward, passing around the back a bit. I have been impressed, with the ball movement, though. It has been slick, fast a lot of the occasions. It's not sort of dull and, a bit lackadaisy. So, been impressed with that aspect. And I just guess it's about seeing the game out, not getting any injuries. We qualify for the next stage, obviously, and move on from there.
Yeah, I think maybe the subs Arnie's made a bit, not bad timing with it all, but it's definitely coincided with the leanest period we've had with the ball. I think Palestine have had a lot of the ball since maybe halfway through this second half. So a lot of these players that have come on haven't been able to play with that same freedom as we showed in the first half, and haven't been able to exhibit what we saw in the players they replaced. So a bit unlucky and unfortunate in that sense. But yeah,
who's that just been taken to the ground? Someone got absolutely clattered. Oh, it was Matt Leckie. Matt Leckie running through the middle.
Yeah, Azani doesn't get a game.
Wow, Boss and Cammy Devlin. I imagine surely you're going to let Aaron Kunda go over to the right and Boss play high.
And Irvine coming off Devlin at 6. Would it be? Yengi.
So surely... And then Yengi? Wait, Yengi for Boss? Oh, God.
Yeah, that's
okay,
what I'm saying.
Wrong. So Boss is just going straight out left wing? We might see a genuine change in structure here.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, he's been good, though. And then Devlin for Leckie. Oh, you saw me down a river there. So Irvine stays. Irvine stays in the 6. Devlin there.
Sorry, that was me just absolutely assuming, but...
Boss left wing. It looks like we're going to a very regular kind of... what do you want to call this? A 2-3-4-1, something like that. In possession.
Yeah, there's variation. Yeah.
Stamzalopoulos leading the line. Boss and Aaron Kunda on the wings. Although Aaron Kunda's still on the left there. Intriguing. Where's Jake? We go to parts when Jacob's not here to explain this to us like we're 5 years old. We fall apart.
What's only just happened? Give me a sec. I don't know why. We haven't seen Aaron Kunda on the left that much. It's a bit odd, that one.
So Devlin is deeper.
He's trying. Aaron Kunda looks like he's playing down the middle now. So yeah, as we were saying, I don't know. Christian called it. See him up top for the last couple of minutes of this game.
Did we have to say Geordie Boss for the last 10 minutes though?
It's not
and
many.
wing as well.
Yeah, exactly. Azani can come on for that 10. Yeah, they're
if you want to see what Azani can do, bring Azani on for the last 15-20. I mean, we know...
So Irvine, Nesta.
Are we seeing Azani international retirement straight after this?
I hope
Changing
not.
allegiances?
So they are trying to play Aaron Kunda up as one of those two.
Next to summer, yeah.
And then you got Boss, and then you still got this kind of isometric kind of shape here.
I mean, I can definitely see Aaron Kunda play who can definitely, play off the top striker, just play off the shoulder. If we do have to revert to that strategy.
Pressing from Stammer almost forces a corner turnover.
Yeah,
I guess
it's Metcalf playing on that right.
Is it okay?
Yeah, and because he plays there for St. Pauli, so he's definitely one who Boss will keep the width and then he'll float inside.
Yeah.
Playing the lucky role from the first half.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so showing some versatility, being able to do it on both sides. And it's interesting, I guess Irankunda being that kind of left-sided striker that is the one dropping deep more often offers that space in behind for Geordie Boss as well, right? Here we go, ball over the top. Stammer. Nesta, wins the ball in the air. Oh, here we go. He's out wide. Power. No, blocked out for a corner. That's the kind of ones where you just imagine him absolutely rifling it into the near post, high in the near post, just straight in.
It did look like he crossed it though.
Yeah.
He did. He did in that case, yeah.
You don't see his debut goal being anything other than just a worldie. Like, it can't be anything else.
It's going to be from a 10-degree angle or more acute. It's not going to be.
The way he just caresses that ball down, just so good. So good.
Yeah, he did well to win that aerial duel.
Yeah.
He's got a good vert on him. That was a big jump.
Stammer best aerial ability in the Socceroos? Give me a break.
Okay.
Come on. It's Irankunda.
He's going to score a header now. Watch. Oh, Irvine. What's the referee called here? I think it's a penalty.
Oh, it's a pen.
He's given a penalty for handball.
Handball. That's just saying handball.
I thought he pointed to the spot.
Oh, golly. I mean, it doesn't mean much in the 87th minute at 4-0.
Palestine coach has given up. He's just like...
Head scratches still. That's just...
Chikati's trying to get in there with a word as well. I wonder what he's saying to him. Let's see. Ball in from Metcalf. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a pretty obvious one, actually.
That's a good spot.
What we thought was a header from Jackson Irvine is just a straight-up fist. It's unfortunate because he's just playing for physical contact there.
Yeah, he looked away.
He's looked away, but the ref's done well to spot that, and he's making his silhouette massive. And as far as I understand it, that's a pretty plain handball.
Yeah. No complaints.
I thought it was just another fluffed Jackson Irvine header for sure.
Who's taking it?
Nestor Irankunda, so it's not going to be a worldie.
say.
Of course, we saw him do this against for Adelaide United as well. He missed this one. He makes no mistake. Bottom left corner again. And there's the backflips. Irankunda has his first goal in Australian colours for the Socceroos. No less than 2 minutes after Christian saying his first goal was only ever going to be a worldie.
Oh, the curse.
Curse in a good way. That's no, good to see him obviously even step up and take the pen in the first place. I think that takes a lot of guts. But I mean, it's not a the game's wrapped up, but it's still a big stage to do it on. So no, that's good to see that he's still up and about to take pens and.
Nice moment there with Joe Gauci as well, his former Adelaide United teammates, both in for big teams in Europe. It's exciting times. Of course, we forget about Joe Gauci, and we've talked about Nesta potentially being loaned away. I don't think he will, but there's so many now Australian players in the top flight. You've got Jackson Irvine and Connor Metcalf, who with St. Pauli are now looking for a new coach as well. I believe I can't remember his name, but I believe he's gone to Brighton. Right?
Hersler, is it Hersler?
So they're looking for new management. You've got Burgess and, of course, Luongo, who we've talked about before. The door is well and truly still open for him for a Socceroos return, despite, the whole retirement thing before the Asian Cup. You've got Chikati in Syria. You've got Nesta in Germany. You've got Joe Gauci for Aston Villa. It's just so exciting. So many Aussies getting back to that football heritage of those top 5 European leagues and the top quality football in the world. It's so encouraging to see.
Yeah, it says a lot about our game in both ways, where the European teams especially are looking for value in every dollar they spend, and they see it in the Australian market, which is awesome, but it still shows that maybe the clubs aren't being rewarded enough, and can be something addressed by more of a domestic transfer system here. And I don't know. I think we see over the next couple of years just a really steady rise in the transfer fees paid to A-League clubs, which is it will be great to see. We saw with Paulson, obviously not Aussie, but that was a massive fee. So hopefully that continues on and these players are valued properly. I think you look at a player like Gauchi, and I think if he was to make the step up, he would be ready. And players like that can be had on a bargain. So. No, they represent a lot of value for the European team. So it's something that I don't think will go away, and the league will definitely shift towards, and we've seen that with teams already.
We have 3 minutes of added time in this one, almost at full time. When is the next time we see the Socceroos? Let me have a look. Christian, you can pad for me. Australians in top 5 leagues.
Australians in top 5 leagues. I mean, there was a big period, 10 years ago, where a lot of our top players weren't playing in those top professional leagues. It was more, we had the odd one, Matt Ryan here and there, but I think it says more about our development now, especially in the A-League clubs. Overseas clubs picking out our young talent. Obviously, we're benefiting from it with transfer fees. Definitely a bright future ahead, and it's only going to grow from here. I mean, Chinkati, for example, we've touched on playing Sedia, what an experience. The duo at Sao Paulo, Irvine and McCaff, to get that experience in the top flight in Germany, which is something else for their age, and to bring that expertise, knowledge, experience to the national team setup to help the youngsters as well develop their own game. I think it's invaluable. So definitely positive signs.
So we've got this June-July window, which is the Euros and the Copa America. I'd assume there wouldn't be another Socceroos game in here. Then we've got the window August doesn't have a window. So the next one is September, and that is, I can tell you, is the first match day of the third round of qualification on the 5th of September. So it looks like we're going to be waiting almost 3 months for another Socceroos game, unless there's some friendlies tied in there somewhere. I'm not exactly sure how it all works.
But it seems like there could be.
Maybe a late invite to the Copa America, perhaps?
Late invite to the Copa America. Oh, dear. But
then we win the whole thing like Denmark, right? Late call up.
Could you imagine if... Well, I mean, the US have to be considered half a chance to go deep in the Copa America this year.
They just got spanked by Colombia.
Did they?
Yeah. James Rodriguez scoring against you still, 5-1. Oh, you're not really. I don't know. Looking at that team now, they have strength, but
on home soil, which is strange in itself.
It's weird how we beat Denmark at the World Cup, and our predictions put Denmark second behind England to qualify for the next round. Like, it's just surreal.
Yeah, as Palestine go, probably the closest they've gone all game, to be fair, to scoring. And Monique says there seems to be a shift in a positive direction with Football Australia and Nestory. I think, what we've seen in this window is just, I think, an acceptance from the people that made those decisions that they were perhaps wrong. And look, it seems from the outside like everyone's accepted those mistakes were made, even Nestor. And, he's got his debut, he's got his second cap, and he's got his first goal. So only positive from here, I would imagine. A very cheeky throw in there. They've got a chance. Oh, geez, the ball is pinballing around absolutely everywhere. Offside in the end. Monique says you only have to look at the Matildas to see the connection with international team performances and players in the top flight leagues. It makes for an exciting lead up to 2026. Wholeheartedly agree with that statement, as I imagine Joe Gauch is going to pick up the ball, boot it down the field. No, he doesn't even get time for that. That is full time in Perth, Australia 5, Palestine 0. Gents, a very encouraging performance from the Socceroos in this one. Give us 60 seconds each just to wrap this up, and we'll get everyone else off to bed.
Yeah, if this is the last game for 3 months, then it's definitely a good one to end on, because so much to take away from this game, honestly. And that the second half obviously died off a little bit there, but the first half was, I couldn't believe what I was watching, but close to it. It was the best I've seen us play for for a long, long time. And yeah, if that's kind of the standard that Arnold has set, and they're the kind of ideas that is gonna get the team working towards. It's a really exciting time ahead, and yeah, as we said, we're in pot 2 of the qualifiers, but yeah, our debate, pre-game, I think it will be exciting to see us tested against that competition, and especially in Asia, where we need to learn how to play against Asian teams. I think even more than the European teams and CONCACAF teams like we've played in tournaments previously. So just exciting times, honestly. And Aaron Kunda capping it off with the pen is awesome to see. And yeah, as Monique said, we're heading in a positive direction with the whole Nesri thing. I think we'll look back and, it was a bit of a bizarre kind of situation to deal with, but I think it's all in the past now, and we're going to quickly move on, and hopefully we'll just see the fruits of him, on the big stage. So, awesome signs from this game, and yeah, keen to see the next couple.
Absolutely, Christian.
Yeah, I thought the flexibility was really impressive from start to finish. Even towards the end, Aaron Kunda starting off out wide and then drifting into sort of more centrally into more central striking position, which is something different to see. But these are the games where you've got to experiment. Standout performer for me has to be Chikati. Even though he didn't have much to do per se defensively, I thought on the ball he was terrific. An outlet that we can definitely look towards in the future to definitely rely upon, perhaps maybe starting, with a few doubts in that central position role. I thought the midfield ticked well. The ball movement was really slick, really fast, good tempo to the game. Obviously, the last 20, 25 minutes, the game pitted out, but expected to be that way. Disappointing not to see Azani get a run. I thought he was a bit hard done by there. Didn't start in the first game either. Came on about the 60th minute mark, I think it was. So would have loved to see a bit more of him. But overall, I think we're expected to win both games. Just the manner and the performance of which we did it, and I think they're really impressive. So going into a bit of a break now, just to come off a good performance like that, it's really positive for Graham Arnold just to reflect back on and think it's a pretty good squad that we've got at our disposal. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Very positive signs. We're going to break it down in more detail on Friday on that episode of the A-Leagues of Our Own podcast. But we will let you all go now. I'm sure there are some tired eyes, a few yawns blasting through, I'm sure. But thank you all very much for watching this late night here, past midnight over in the east side of Australia. A magnificent victory for the Socceroos over in Perth, 5-0 over Palestine, and plenty of signs of optimism for the future to